Hi. Hey,
Welcome,
everyone.
So we have a little special today for everyone joining on in.
Woo!
Everyone, please welcome Rachel to the Smut Couch today.
Hi.
That's
And
my
who's-
girlfriend.
Period.
Yeah.
We're being joined by the first lady of the Smut Couch.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Welcome.
I love that title.
She's been wanting to come on for a while now, and we finally found the perfect book for that.
Mm-hmm.
Today is a special time because it's not smut at all. But it was a book that I really wanted to talk about, Maddy really wanted to talk about,
Oh, yes.
and Rachel really wanted to talk about.
It is a pop culture phenomenon, the most iconic thing that could ever happen.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
We are, of course.
Of course.
We are, of course.
Your
talking
girlfriend's here
about
and you can't
original-
talk?
No, I
Nice.
can't. Wow.
Make you nervous.
You do. Just because she beats me, guys. Help.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You guys, okay, before we start talking about everything, first of all, I feel so freaking weird in the seat. I'm in
Yeah,
Alexandros'
guys, Maddy
seat.
took my spot.
And
What's going on with
feels
that?
so weird. But anyways,
Do you
okay.
like that spot better? Hold on.
No, I don't think I do. I feel really
He likes
weird.
her corner.
Feels like the upside down.
I feel so bizarre because even before, when I used to have my old podcast, May She Rest in Peace, I sat there. So I've never sat here.
So that was
before.
your spot.
But I'm happy to.
Yeah.
If I could give it to anyone, I'm happy I could give it to you.
Oh, thank you.
I kind of like the chairs. I'm not gonna lie.
The
I
chairs
like
are
being able
nice.
to swivel and
But I fear that it does. If we were
Takes
to move
away,
to chairs,
Yeah, it's not the smut,
the smut
chair.
chairs.
the
Yeah,
smut chairs
doesn't
yeah.
have the same ring.
Anyways, what I was going to say was we're joined by Rachel, as we said, and she truly is like actually the wind beneath our wings.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Speak on
yeah.
it. If you, not to put you on the spot, but,
Yeah.
but I feel like the people need to hear it
We
from
would
your
not be
mouth.
here if not
Yes.
for her. Let's just put it
So-
like that.
I mean, that's partially true.
Yes, it is true.
Maddy did want to start a podcast about books, if I
Oh,
remember
yes.
correctly.
Yes, because I had one about movies, and me and my friend, we couldn't do it anymore. So I'm
Right.
like, oh, this is an idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And Alexandros happened to be reading some of the same things as you at the time, which is
Exactly.
how he got roped into it too. But he would not have read those books if it weren't for me.
Yep.
I remember reading a Dramione fan fiction when we were on vacation together, and he was like,
Circa 2021, I think.
okay, giving me the judgiest look ever, but I would make him just listen to me like yap about it because I was
Well.
like, someone has to listen to me talk about
Hello.
Hermione.
Of course.
And then when I was leaving for study abroad, I gave him A Court of Thorns and Roses, and I was like, here, you can read this while I'm gone so that you're not lonely. And I fully expected him to
That's
not
an
read
insane
it.
way to say it.
And I didn't expect you to read it. And then he finished it in like a day and a half, and he was like, where do I get the next book?
I don't know, Target?
And
Barnes
then-
and Noble?
Yeah, and it started his addiction. And then so now we're here
Yeah.
because he made it very known that he was really into
Mhm.
smut.
Mhm.
Yeah?
I don't hide who I am.
No,
I don't
never.
hide what I'm
There's nothing
reading.
wrong. There's no shame in it.
No.
People try to hide what's in their books, but I just go, hey, just own it.
No.
It's okay.
Yeah.
People be wild in those things.
Of course.
So how did you guys connect, you and Maddy? How did you guys decide to do this together then?
Me and Maddy? Oh, everything else is just essentially carries on from what we said already, where it's
Yeah.
like
Oh,
we were reading the
okay.
same things. I recommended Manacled to her because
Was
Rachel
that
got
your
me
first
started.
Hermione?
Yes, it was.
Oh.
No, literally,
okay.
I'm here because of you too, my diva.
Oh, really? I
Yes.
thought you were a Dramione person before.
Nope.
No, I knew
Okay.
about it, but I had never
You're the
know.
origin.
exactly. Yeah, I
Got
know.
it.
This all
The
kind of sense for you, my
mastermind.
girl.
I know. And the culmination of that Jubilee video
Mm-hmm.
where I got betrayed by that one girl.
Oh yeah, so
Yo, yes. Speak on it. speak on it.
Rachel is
Wait,
a full expert
you were on a Jubilee video?
Yeah.
across the board. A Harry Potter one.
I was in
Oh.
the Harry Potter Odd One Out. I was a real Harry Potter fan.
Mhm.
And the mole,
Spoilers.
like, yeah, spoilers. The mole was like, oh, I can't remember who brought it up first. Oh, I said I read a lot of fan fiction, and she was like, yeah, I read Dramione fan fiction, and I was like, oh my gosh, yes. We bonded over Isolation, which if you haven't read Isolation, it's
I know
like,
we haven't done that yet.
again, it's a classic, and it's you
It's a
you need
great
to
line.
read it.
We will.
But
I've read
I felt
I will.
so. I was like, wow.
That's
I was so
funny.
betrayed after that.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So I actually
No.
felt like that was cheating when I watched the episode
yeah.
to support. I was like, hold on, no, if she knows fan fiction, she's a real fan. You don't get to just know some of the fan fiction titles and then
Right.
go on this thing. That sounds like you learned
That's
stuff.
crazy.
That's cheating.
Yeah, that was wild.
Wait, I think I found something here. Let me-
Probably.
Uh-oh.
She's in one frame of a PewDiePie video.
Oh,
Is that you? Let's see.
yeah,
That's-
that's me.
That's her forehead.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a little snippet of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Please don't take down our video, Jubilee.
Wait, that's so
That's what I
funny.
got.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted me to come in all my Harry Potter stuff, so I did. And then I remember all the comments were like, "Wow, these people are nerds. Like, who has a robe?" And I was like,
You're like,
"Yeah,
hello.
whatever." Like, they asked me to show up in that.
That's so funny.
So,
Get that bag.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah. Period. So yeah. So then Alexandros, when my podcast stopped, Alexandros was like, we could do something about books. And I said, okay, period.
Yeah.
So then we are.
And then there was a couch at work called the Smut Couch where everyone would just
Yep.
read.
And so we
Wait, the
That's
couch was
newborn.
actually called the Smut Couch before you guys?
We called
No.
it that. No.
Yeah.
We came up
Oh,
with that.
yeah.
Easy
Okay.
now. Easy now.
Yeah.
Where are you? So there you are. Okay.
but like we'll be at work still and people were like, oh, like other people will refer to it as that now. It's hilarious.
Wow.
and
It's
I
always
used to
great
sit on
when we
that
get a new
couch all the
manager.
time, and I didn't know it was that one. Until
Yeah.
someone was like, "Oh, you're on
That's
the I was
the
like,
titular
oh.
Smut Couch. I know, we gotta put a
Couch.
sign.
Mhm.
We have to put a sign on it.
Yeah.
It's like
Anyways.
property of.
Yes, of us.
All right.
So
What's our book again?
it is called Sunrise on the Reaping.
All right.
Hunger Games.
There it
A
is.
sensation sweeping the nation.
So not only is our diva Rachel a Harry Potter girly poo, she's also a major Hunger Games girly poo.
Probably more of a Hunger Games girly.
I am first and foremost a Hunger Games girly poo.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's my
Um,
everything.
Yeah, I read Hunger Games. I mean, I'll give a brief introduction since this is why you brought me on.
Mhm.
here.
No, literally
She's our
give
expert.
it to
we
us.
had a goblin for our goblin romance last time.
Yes.
Oh.
And now we have a Hunger Games
That's
expert.
him.
Yeah, so I'm the Hunger Games expert. Hunger Games, I read Hunger Games like before Harry Potter. It was one of the earliest book series I remember being obsessed with.
Mhm.
I was way too young to be reading it. I think 10 or 11.
You're like, come on, Death.
Yeah, and
Come
I
on,
was
kids,
like,
Daddy.
oh,
You don't have
okay.
to be reaped. You're old enough to read it, right?
Yeah.
I was like, this is so dramatic. I love it. I read the first Hunger Games book 18 times, and I read the second one 20 times.
Wait, no.
Because
Keep
it
track
was
of
like
it.
so comforting for me.
Yeah.
So weird to say.
No, girl, that was me with Twilight.
Yeah, no, my therapist and I dive into it all the time. She's like, why
love
were you
that.
so like comforted by it? But
So
I
you're used to sitting on couches and talking about Hunger
I
Games.
am.
There
I'm
you
so
go.
used to that. I'm used to yapping about the Hunger Games. I think one of the main reasons why I loved that series so much was because Katniss is also an eldest daughter.
Me too.
You are too?
I didn't know you were.
Yeah.
Girl, that's real.
It is real.
Oh.
And you really feel like connected to her through that
Yes.
if you are an eldest
Yes.
daughter.
Girl, I'm right there with you.
And just kind of like the parentification that she goes through. But I think I looked up to her as like a role model when I was,
Yeah.
Going through some things as a kid. And so that was where I really I just latched on to Hunger Games.
Totally.
Did you all of a sudden get into like bakers all of a sudden?
No, but that's like PETA was my first love.
Oh my
that's
God,
probably
yes.
Why I like
Picturing you
wands.
just going into a bagel shop and going like, hey.
Hey.
No,
How's it going?
oh my gosh, yeah, I was in love with PETA, and there's like still like a part of me that's like,
No, you guys, to be
I've made crescent rolls before and I'm blonde. That's close enough, right? No, it's not.
Listen.
Dang.
Crescent rolls
Listen.
from the can.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty good, right?
crescent roll.
Pillsbury. Crazy.
Yeah, I'll throw them at you in the rain. Come on.
You hungry, girl?
Okay,
Uh.
sure.
That's
We can do
crazy.
that.
A little bit of role playing, but it's just throwing crescent rolls in the pouring rain.
No,
That's
spraying me with a
psychotic.
hose.
Yeah.
That's psycho. No, PETA's my everything. Josh Hutcherson is still my everything. I believe in my heart that could happen for me.
Yeah.
And
Josh.
I think it could happen for you.
Thank
too.
you. Hey, Josh, someone we know must know him somewhere. That's what I think
Yeah.
about all these celebrities. We know so many people. Someone knows him somewhere.
6 degrees of separation, right?
Of course. Like, he has to be within reach. My best friend Parker would kill me if I got with Josh Hutcherson because my best friend Parker. So, one of my first introductions into fan fiction, besides
Me.
my Harry Styles fan fiction, Parker's friend wrote him a fan fiction about him and Josh Hutcherson.
Oh,
Isn't that
Oh,
crazy?
he read that on his podcast.
He
too.
did.
I remember
did.
that.
Oh my God.
I love
reminds me.
that.
Isn't
We
that
were just
crazy?
at a party and somebody that we met at this party was talking about somebody else who wrote a fan fiction about them. They're like a TikTok creator. I can't remember what their name is. And
Wait, I'm
I don't want to say.
scared.
It's crazy. They just talk about their hookup and everything like that.
It was
and how
wild.
crazy it was. And they read it out loud. And it's the person who wrote it, like, is narrating it too. And so we all just stop the entire party and we're all just watching it on the TV while this person reads it out. And she's just like, yeah, this girl is crazy.
That's horrifying.
I'm going to lose my mind. But like, good for them. I was like, this is the most interesting thing of the night right now.
That's so psycho.
Do you remember any specifics about it? Just something.
No, but I do have something to say about Hunger Games and fan fiction.
Please
Okay,
speak about
so
it. I know. I was
tangented
going
a
to
little
circle
bit
us
right there.
back. I was going
Yeah.
to circle us back.
I want
Take it away.
to give a shout out to your cover artist, Trent.
Yes.
And because he introduced me to this fan fiction called
Wait, I need to
I
know.
this one.
it's called Trapped in an Island with Josh Hutcherson. And
hell yeah.
I read it with him on the couch in the break room. And we were dying laughing because it's just, you need to read it, Maddie. It's a full
I will.
experience. There's like, I just can't even.
Oh my
I can't
God.
even describe it. It's on Wattpad.
Period. That's what I got that. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so into it. Okay. Should we go into the book?
Yes, we should.
Okay.
Yeah. First of all, what's our favorite Hunger Games book before we fully do this? Do we have favorite ones out there? Or is it Catching Fire across the board?
I mean,
I think obviously
Yeah.
it's Catching Fire.
Catching Fire?
But this, I will say, this did it for me.
no, me too.
It wasn't at all
I-
what I expected it to be, honestly.
No.
I
So, I mean, I hope that you all that are listening know what we're talking about, But so Sunrise and the Reaping, the prequel to the Hunger Games, but post
Haymitch
Songbird
wins.
song, yes, about Haymitch, which Suzanne Collins has famously said that she will only write something when she has something to say.
Mm-hmm.
And
Boy,
she has something
didn't
to
she.
say. Yes, she did.
Boy, didn't she?
With those first
She-
quotes at the beginning,
Oh my God.
I was like,
Should
We're
we
locked
read some
in.
of those quotes at the
Okay.
beginning? Just
Sure.
to
sure.
get them going real quick. But this book only exists because y'all were too obsessed with young Snow.
no, literally.
I mean, that's part of it.
It's
yes.
she saw
I hate to say that I truly am one of those girls who I was like kind of like panting and barking at Mr. What's his name?
Tom
Like,
so
she's like, all it took was a buzz cut and bleached hair, and you forgave all those war crimes. All right, here's some more.
I know.
I thought I was gonna be into it because I obviously love a tall, blonde, morally ambiguous man. But
Boop boop beep.
but I could not get past the fact that he was President Snow.
I know.
And I was like, I can't do that. I was so mad at him. I was like, you killed everyone that I love.
No, he's awful.
Well, that was Gale.
So
Ugh.
don't talk about Gale. I don't want to talk about Gale. Okay, if you ever bring up Gale, no, we're not
Yeah.
talking about Gale.
Hate that bitch.
Okay,
Go ahead.
we got some George Orwell here for the first one. All propaganda is lies, even when one is telling the truth. I don't think this matters so long as one knows what one is doing and why. And then it's just,
That's fierce.
bar after bar afterwards with William Blake's, a truth that's told with bad intent beats all the lies you can invent.
Work.
We're rhyming here too.
Yeah, rhyming. Wow.
That's fierce.
That the sun will not rise tomorrow is no less intelligible a proposition and implies no more contradiction than the affirmation that it will rise.
And boy, did it on his
David-
birthday.
Rose.
It rose on his birthday, and he had to go get reaped.
Hmm He didn't even get reaped, you know?
I know.
Oh, he did
That-
at the end, but
Yeah.
like,
That was crazy. I loved the fact that all of our actually, I mean, technically only PETA is the only District 12 victor that was fairly reaped.
Oh my God, you're right.
Because Lucy Gray was it was rigged.
Yes.
mayor's
Um,
daughter
Yeah. Haymitch, we
wasn't reaped.
you just saw what happened.
Yeah.
That shocked me actually.
No, that was crazy.
I started reading this when I was on the stair stepper, and 30 minutes have never flown by faster. Like, I wanted to do more cardio because I was like, what do you
Yes.
mean? What do you mean he didn't get reaped? Hold on.
No, it's crazy. Suzanne gave us she flipped it and reversed it.
Yeah.
I'm so obsessed.
Because
Sorry.
we were all talking shit. I don't know, some of us were talking shit, being
Some
like,
people, yeah.
we already know what happens in Haymitch's game, so it'll be just interesting to read, I guess. It'll be a fun
Oh, no, I
time.
never said that.
Okay.
So
Um,
y'all were not talking.
Yeah.
That's why I said, there were a lot of people. My mindset was going in being like, well, we know how his games go for the most part.
And that is a
Bitch.
fair,
No,
like,
we didn't.
that's a fair fear and like worry for prequels. You know what I'm saying? Because we've seen many a prequel done bad.
Mhm.
But I think that it's such a testament to Suzanne how she was able to make things make even more sense with this. To be able to do that, like, I wonder what her notes looked like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going through, connecting all of these little things to everything. And just like all of the understanding we get, even just about like some minor characters like
Mhm.
Wyrus and Beatty, like, and Mags and all.
Dude, it
like,
felt
that
like
kind of thing.
Avengers Endgame, the way everyone was just showing on up. I was
No,
like,
really.
Okay,
And
biggest
when
hits.
people
Yes.
were like, oh, they like I was worried people were gonna be like, oh, that was fan service, but it wasn't because she's so intentional about everything.
It's so justified.
And even I almost fell victim to it too when BD first appeared. I was like, and then I was like, oh my gosh, it just
I
made
know.
so much sense. Yeah.
Ugh.
Dude, it was like her biggest hits kept showing up. I'm like, okay, hi Effie. Okay,
Effie!
hi Wyrus. Hi Mags. What's going on
It's
here?
so fierce.
I was ready for like Finnick to show up. Like he wasn't even born yet, right?
Do you think
No,
we're
Like,
gonna
he
get
wasn't born.
he
a
was just gonna
Finnick?
be-
I hope so.
I hope so too. I'm like, girl, just keep him coming.
Guys,
Yeah,
we are missing.
just
I
keep 'em
fear that
coming.
we would be missing the point if that's what we want.
I know. But okay, speaking of the point, or do you need to say something?
I saw a TikTok where somebody was bringing up like
We both laugh.
that they wanted to see like all the Hunger Games styles and stuff like that. Be like, let's like a whole series or something like that that cuts from each person's point of view from the games. Like each episode is like it's a new Hunger Games for starters,
Mm.
and each episode takes the place of a different tribute's POV,
OT.
and like they die at the end of the episode, and then it goes to the next one. So you never know who's gonna win, and everyone's
Yeah.
just commenting, "I fear you missed the point of the books."
Oh yeah, Dylan and I had that idea during the pandemic. We were rereading the books together,
Like this would
Yeah.
be good.
and we were like, "Oh my gosh, that'd be so sick if every episode or like every season was like a different arc with different tributes in a
Yeah.
different arena." And then we were like, "Oh, we're part of the
Wait,
problem."
that's the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
We're
Wait,
no
we are
better
in the
than
capital.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I felt at the end when you realized that they just cut out everything. I was like, oh,
Yes,
I'm the capital.
Mhm.
I think that's what one of the main themes of this book that I loved
Mhm.
was that like propaganda, like no one's immune to propaganda because even Katniss and Peeta fall for it. And
Mhm.
Katniss, she's such an interesting narrator. She thinks she is so smart. And
Yeah.
she thinks she has it down and
Eldest
on
daughter. Hello.
lock. Eldest daughter.
Yes.
Yeah. Honestly, like
Mhm.
and as a kid I believed her. I was like,
Yes.
yeah, you're great. And as an adult now I'm like, okay, well.
Katniss, relax.
But yeah, relax. But they even were like, wow, I can't believe Haymitch would do that. Or like when they were watching the Haymitch's games, they're like,
Yeah.
that's just how it went, I guess. And they never really questioned it.
Yes. It's crazy.
So it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
And it's also crazy that Haymitch didn't tell them until like years later, like
I
when they're all
know.
healing.
I don't even know if he told them.
I mean, I think it says in the end of like the epilogue that he kind of goes into like
Yeah.
his games, right?
I think
Does
think
it?
maybe.
Oh, you're the expert. I don't know.
I can look.
Yeah, no, I think that this book was it's everything, to be honest.
Mhm.
I liked it much better. I liked Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, but this was my everything.
I
Me
did
too.
too. I just wish
Yeah.
Lucy Gray didn't go crazy at the end like she did. You know, that's crazy, right? How President Snow like had to do that.
You
Oh,
pinning it
God.
on Lucy.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
God.
that's so man
Oh
behavior.
God.
Okay.
Like,
Oh,
why
that's
did-
Lucy Gray's fault?
Guys, why did she put that jacket on that snake? Like,
My God.
she's crazy. They had their whole lives ahead of them, right?
No.
He had no choice but to crash out and start shooting wildly into the woods.
You're so
No,
psycho.
no.
Here, okay. So while you're looking for that, I guess we should start at the beginning. So as we said, Mr. It's his birthday. He has his mom and his brother that he lives with, and they're poor.
Never
like
had any-
everyone.
No connection to them personally, just because I had no hope that they were gonna make it at all. From the get go, I was like, these fuckers are dead.
cooked. Yeah.
Literally cooked.
Yeah, I know, singed.
Quite literally
And
overcooked.
it's a quarter quell. It's the 50th. So instead of 24 tributes, there's 48, which is so insane.
We somehow get to 50 by the end of it.
I know they're killing these kids left and right. I don't know about you guys, but I found that like, and I thought this too when I was reading Songbirds of Snakes and watching the movie, that all of this is so much more horrifying when you're an adult,
Absolutely.
right? Like
As a kid, you're like, this is so cool.
as a kid, you're like, I could do it. But as an adult, you're like, like, it's so frightening, truly.
No,
Even now
and
as an
sickening.
adult, I think about how I thought as a kid I'd be fine in the Hunger Games. I didn't think I'd be fine, but I was like, I would be okay.
Yeah.
But now I'm
I'm
like,
capable.
oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
No, I'd be so pissed if I got into a Hunger Games and the water was poison. Like,
Girl,
in the school.
absolutely.
I'm like, that's bullshit. Come on.
No,
Come on.
Start over.
I'm like, what are we
Start
doing
this
here?
shit
You want to
over.
watch me just choke on my own vomit, you guys? You little
Yeah.
freaks. Come on. Give me a sword. Let's let somebody at least try to kill me here. Like, why do
Yeah.
I gotta monsters can attack? Sure. I understand that.
Yeah.
Why is an apple gonna kill me here?
that's what was so fascinating about this arena to me though, was it like how beautiful it was. And I kind of liked that it was designed to like
Candyland.
be
Yeah.
tricking them. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's okay. Cause honestly, when I did read the first book, the first Hunger Games book, and the arena was just like a forest, I was like, well, lucky Katniss, that worked out for
I
her.
know.
You know?
That's the point though.
I know it is. But
And it's explained in this too, like, oh, she's just got lucky. They just needed somebody who was lucky.
yeah, well,
That's it.
And yeah, you're right. Haymitch does say, well, she's lucky. Maybe that's not the right word for it. But
Yeah.
she's lucky.
Did you find what you were looking
I
for?
did. So
Okay.
it says, I didn't want anything to do with their memorial book after the war.
Right.
What use, what point to relieve all the loss. But when Burdick's page came up, which is Katniss's dad, I had to mention him showing me the grave, and I felt compelled to tell them about Macy Lee Donner, former owner of the Mockingjay pin,
Oh, my
and
God.
how Sid loved the stars. Before I knew it, they all came tumbling out. Family, tributes, comrades in arms, friends, everybody, even my love. I finally told our story. So to
Oh,
me,
it
he
gave me chills.
told,
Yeah,
he told
no,
all
he
the
did, you're
details
right.
of what
Totally.
happened.
Because at that point, you're like, girl, we lived through that. Let me just spill the beans.
That TikTok audio that's like day 37. Who did I marry? Or whatever it is.
Yes.
I will say, while I didn't have any cares for Haymitch's family from the get-go, I was surprised how well Suzanne wrote these other characters into the story too, and made me care about these people that I know are not going to live.
Right.
You know, like the other people from 12.
Oh my God.
Lulu, who's brainwashed. and floated.
Holy.
Bro, she's in it for like 2 pages essentially, and you're already like feeling bad for her and so sorry. And then when she dies, you're just like, what do you mean she dies?
Suzanne's ability to make you empathize with everybody is unreal.
Except Haymitch's mom and brother. I didn't care about them.
Uh,
Well,
Okay.
you're crazy.
Yeah.
I think they were dead before like the book even opened up.
Right.
Yeah, I was-
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I can understand that. I think I felt a little bit that way about Lenore Dove. I liked her, but
Yeah.
I was like,
This girl.
girl, I don't know anything about you, and I know you're not going to make it. So
Yeah.
I had
I-
a hard time connecting.
A
to
part
her.
of me thought maybe she could get out, and then gumdrops are like, that's crazy.
I know.
Boop.
Okay, so to go through the plot a little bit. So it's the reaping day. They killed that one
Drusilla.
guy.
Oh no.
How'd they kill that one guy? What
They
happened?
just
there
shot him.
again?
He was like, fuck that. I'm
Yeah, and then boom. Already
Ugh.
nightmare.
out of here. The Capitol just decided, you know what? Fuck this one kid in particular. Grab this one. And they just
Yes.
grab Haymitch up and they're like, you're reaped. Congrats.
Well, it's because he
helped, I know.
He helped
Yeah.
Lenore Dove, and it's funny when he has that internal battle with himself. He's like, if I had just let her like continue doing what she was doing, then I would still be in 12 and we would probably be fine.
Totally.
But you can't look at someone that you care about like struggling and not
Mhm.
wanting to protect them.
Yeah. And he has like he like cares for people like that, he has like kind of
What
a
an idiot.
gruffy like thing, but in the inside, he's deep and stuff. But immediately from the get-go, we already have the Capitol completely changing what the story of what happened for everyone, all of the viewers.
You got to wonder how often they do stuff like
Exactly. It's crazy the way they were like, okay, let's do it again. Take it from the top.
this. Katniss, you got to be a
Yeah.
better narrator. Like, what the fuck?
It's
We missed all
psycho.
I think part of it is that, Katniss is 24 years later. So I think by the time they get to her, they've kind of got it down to a science.
Oh, yes.
And I don't think they need to, because I don't know if you both read it this way, but I kind of thought Plutarch was being very innovative with the way that he was doing the reshoots and like the
Mhm.
framing and stuff. So I think that was still
Same
a
with
relatively
Snow.
new thing for those games.
Yes. I thought the same thing.
Yeah.
because he's like the young guy who's like trying to,
Yeah.
do something different. Yeah, totally.
So that was interesting.
It was
too.
so interesting.
Because you're right, there probably are a lot of things that they changed. But I think with Katniss,
saw-
I think that's part of why she's an unreliable narrator is because even she can't tell what's been changed and what hasn't.
Well, she only noticed Coin's plan at the very end after President Snow told it to her.
Right.
You know, after he was like, "Girl, can you just like lock in for a little bit here?"
Yeah.
Right.
But I saw a theory about Annie's games
Mm.
that
Oh,
they didn't, because her arena got flooded
right.
and she could swim, so she lived. I saw a theory online that she was doing something similar and sabotaging
What
the games.
Haymitch did?
And so something went wrong in the arena because it doesn't make sense for them to just flood an arena and kill all the tributes.
Right.
That's not entertaining.
Yeah.
For the quarter quell here with twice the tributes, I think it makes sense to have a volcano erupt if that was what it was and it wasn't just the arena going haywire.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it was a bunch of chemical stuff and that their outfits were
Yeah.
intentional for it. So I'll believe
Totally.
that something like that was supposed to happen. You got to wipe out some of them in case too many of them live for too long.
Especially with the tribute.
Yeah, that's
They're like,
that's
"We gotta get
probably
rid of
why
some
the food
people."
was poisoned too. They're like, yo, we got to wrap this
We
up
gotta
in a
get to the
couple days,
juice.
guys. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah. It would take too
Come on,
long.
imagine week 2 of the Hunger Games. You're just like, Jesus, come on,
Right.
guys.
I think that would be so much more brutal for the families too.
Oh,
because I
God,
think it's
yeah.
probably easier when the games only last 2 or 3 days and they can go, okay, it's over and they can go into mourning.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're watching, if
Mhm.
these games are stretching on for 3 weeks and it's like mandatory viewing, like
yeah. And then you'd have a lot of kids like starving to death and stuff, which would just be like, oh,
yeah.
poor Welly or whatever her name
It's a
was.
bad show.
Yeah.
Um,
Crazy.
ugh.
I
Okay.
feel like if I were a capital citizen, I'm just the worst person ever here for this bit. Just ignore me. But
You're betting on the kids?
yeah. Obviously I'm betting on the kids. What?
I mean, everyone does.
Yeah.
What?
I
One of the
know.
kids is betting on the kids.
Even
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, he's-
I loved him. I thought he was.
Was his
such
name
a
Wyatt
cool
Callow?
character.
I couldn't
Yeah.
believe. Yeah. I think he was.
I will say not even that though, but I'm the kind of guy who would like tune in. It's like for the Super Bowl, you tune in for the halftime show. So I tune in for the bloodbath, and then I just go and I get some food for a while. I'm like, oh yeah,
God.
what's been going? Drink that little stuff that makes you throw up real quick. Get some more food.
Yeah.
Go on it.
That'd be you watching the games.
No, I'd watch the bloodbath and I'd be like, oh,
I
that
know,
was
I'm
good.
Clarifying.
Hey, let's go out for drinks on the town now. We'll come back a little bit later.
Yeah.
We'll watch the highlights.
Now we're drunk and happy. Let's really
Yeah.
watch these kids go
Let's
at it.
really watch them. All right.
That's so psycho.
Now let's talk about why this kid from 11 who got hit with a hammer sucks. All
Oh,
right.
God.
Like why didn't he dodge? I bet on him. He should have dodged that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Insane.
Okay, so then they go to the Capitol as normal, and they're doing the chariot, iconic from the films and from the books that we love.
Bro, that one clip of Woody Harrelson now where he just kind of looks down.
Oh my God!
And I
It
know
hits
he-
so hard.
I know he didn't know.
Oh,
I know there was
no.
nothing like that.
It's a beautiful.
You have a theory that he knew?
I don't have a theory. I think I do
Suzanne.
think Suzanne, and I don't know if maybe that was just a coincidence for
Yeah.
that bit, but I do think that she told Woody Harrelson and Donald Sutherland things about their characters.
Yeah.
I think she told everyone things about their characters because
It's too
she
good.
just has such like a crazy like mind. It's like
Yeah.
insane.
No, truly.
How brilliant she is. And that's another thing I was going to say about the games in the arena is I loved like hearing even just a snippet about Wyrus's arena. I
Yeah.
was like, whoa, that's crazy. But
Never mind that.
Yeah, we were like, "What's going
I
on?"
was like, what you got up there?
Never
was
mind
it?
that.
He just got his browser open
Yeah.
right now. Solomon, what's your history looking like? Whoa, oh my God.
Yeah, never mind that. Okay, go.
President
Yeah, I
Snow
agree.
oiled up? What?
I think you're right because there's so much like juice there, and the context just. I was watching. I put on both Hunger Games and Catching Fire after reading this because I was like, "Girl, I need to get it." I didn't watch the last two because I didn't want to, my heart to break too bad. But it's just amazing the context that is added from all of this. That you do have. I mean, if she didn't have it all planned out, that's amazing.
yeah.
Sometimes like when books keep getting added to a series, like if it's just a trilogy and then they're like, oh, let's start throwing in all these other things, it can start to stretch out the universe and you'd be like, yeah, that's not what happened, but all right, sure, I'll believe it. Like
Yeah.
this one,
it only
I'm sold
added.
on it. Yeah.
I agree. Okay, so at the chariot situation, the like parade of victors or whatever, or tributes, I don't know what it was called.
Tributes, yeah.
Tributes. Thank you. Yeah.
Ain't victors yet.
Yeah. Some of the horses go haywire, and there's like an accident, and Miss Luella, the little girl, dies.
Caught me so off guard.
I know the way it happens so quick, and we get our first like FU moment from Haymitch where he takes Luella and runs in front of President Snow and is like, "You did this, sir." Of course, it's not aired. No one knows that happened.
Just got him from the face up. And that's what's even crazier is that they did show the footage, but they're just like, yeah, he was there. He was smiling along.
And so no one knows what happens to Luella. And then, of course, eventually Luella shows back up, but she's like, not Luella.
Think about the body horror of that.
It's horrifying.
Crazy.
And so it's like she's maybe a kid from 11.
She was a kid from 11.
Yeah, and she's like,
her face is probably all stretched out weirdly and stuff.
Yes.
Like that. Like, think about what they did for like cosmetic surgeries in the later Hunger Games books to like keep everyone looking like young, and like Snow's face also looks too stretched out. This is probably like a very like early version of that type of stuff, but forced and even worse.
Yeah, and
she's got that thing in her chest, tube in her ear or whatever it is.
She's getting like messages through her ear of things, and like
that was crazy.
And like ringing, awful. And he's like, "What the fuck is that?" The way they're all like, "I don't want to sleep with that in my room."
Like,
we have Luella at home.
Yeah. Then they're like, "Okay, we can't call her Luella. That's Lulu, girl. Absolutely not."
It's the off-brand version. Diet Luella.
But it's kind of, I don't want to say cute. I don't know. I guess endearing how once they start to realize like there's still a little girl in there, that they start to care for her even though she's not Luella. They care for her as Lulu.
It's not her fault.
Exactly.
All this has happened to her. Whatever her parents did that got her in this mess.
Yeah. And I think she presented an interesting parallel for Katniss and Haymitch again with Rue.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
Because here you have like, Katniss and Haymitch both caring about a little girl from District 11.
Mm-hmm.
And
Haymitch watching the games.
Protect them.
Haymitch watching the games, just being like, first time? Yeah.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
And also the parallel too of like PETA, when he is like goes through all of that stuff and is not really PETA anymore for a bit.
Yeah, the first instance of hijacking or whatever.
Yes, like it's absolutely horrifying. Ugh.
I will say my favorite scene in this book is the Snow Haymitch conversation at Plutarch's house.
Iconic.
Right down there.
And I can't wait to see that.
I was picturing Donald Sutherland the whole time. All right, this is our chance to talk about fan casting real quick.
Okay.
Kiefer Sutherland, obviously.
I really hope that they do the Kiefer and Cooper Hoffman.
Ray Fiennes as like one of the big ones, and I'm like, I don't
think he would do another big thing like this again. I doubt it.
Have you seen the paychecks they offer for these movies? You do it.
But I really hope that they would do the Kiefer Sutherland.
He might turn it down,
Cooper
though. He might
Hoffman.
not want to do it,
Valid, but that would be so sweet.
The other one that I've seen is Jason Isaacs, and I'd be okay with that, too.
I mean, oh my God.
I love Jason Isaacs.
Did you watch The White Lotus last night?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my God.
I've never watched White Lotus.
He's so good in it. He's amazing.
Good enough. I kicked Dobby down the stairs. Oh, work.
Yeah. And I am team the kid from House of the Dragon.
I like him too.
Haymitch.
I think he's a great choice.
Right.
I don't know. I don't really like or you.
Yeah, or me, yeah.
I don't know. I have such a hard time with fan casting because I usually just see like blobs and like hair.
I'm the same way.
And then like if there's ever a scene where you're like, I really need to see their face, you can kind of will it into imagination.
I'm the same exact way.
But even then it's like
yeah.
I'm a different reader. I can totally picture people's faces and everything like that
me.
when I read.
Tell us what you guys do. That's so
I'm just grateful that like
that was good, Maddie. That was good.
I'm so interested.
Yeah, no, that I'm interested too.
Because the way people bring like
it's like picture an apple and like what you can picture is
exactly.
like it's like the different variations. Some people picture a full apple. Some people picture like the outline of an apple.
Yeah,
there's like a lot of
it's so interesting.
Some people are like, I can't even see an apple. What does those look like?
I think it's so cool.
Anyway, what I was going to say is I love seeing on TikTok and Instagram people who are doing fan casts. And every time I look at them, I'm like, I'm so glad you guys are not in casting.
All the comments are always saying that.
People are crazy.
I love those comments that are just like, oh my God, thank goodness that you're not a casting director.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Because
so
some of these are not good.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I love that if you're into that.
Yeah. That's so fun. I think that all of the Hunger Games movies, for the most part, are pretty well cast. So.
Absolutely.
Woody Harrelson with a backwards cap is what we're thinking for Haymitch.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? That's what I'm going for.
Well, yeah. And honestly,
give him a lollipop.
I kind of didn't think about it until today that I think I genuinely was like when I was reading it. I think I was just thinking about Woody Harrelson.
So was I.
Yeah.
Which presents a really interesting idea. I think it would have been cool to see the book written from present Haymitch's POV retelling it to Katniss and Peeta. I think that could have been really cool.
Totally.
They might do a movie like that. you
Yeah,
know?
they could.
They could, yeah.
To get Woody back in there.
It's just, it's like for the
I love
Princess
him, me
Diaries.
too.
It's like the Princess Diary. That's not what it's not Princess Diaries. As the Princess Bride. Sorry.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
Princess
yeah,
Diary.
yeah.
Whoa.
He's like
That
telling
was-
the story to
It's
Katniss and
it's
his
just
kids.
it's a bedtime story. He's just sitting there and it's like, no, I'm not going to tell
Willow
you.
and Rye.
Yeah.
It just starts off. I didn't like to drink, and they're like, "Shut up, Haymitch. Yes, you do."
You drunk.
That line killed me.
Oh,
I
God.
started crying.
Dude,
I
come
was
on.
like,
So
we're
devastating.
Chapter
chapter
one, we're
in.
doing this.
I was
Yeah.
like, we're one chapter in and I'm crying
Devastating.
because of that line.
I'm like, you better start liking it. You're gonna need to.
I know.
Oh.
Okay, so and
wait,
then we're in the go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. Just the scene with us, Snow and Haymitch, right there.
Please,
I was
yeah.
picturing Donald Sutherland. Just the eeriness that conversation has,
Ugh.
and Haymitch is like he's shook from that conversation because he's like, "Oh, Lenore Dove, blah blah blah." She, he doesn't get her last name. He just starts listing off some colors right there, and he goes, "Dove. Ah, that's technically a color, I guess. Yeah, sure." And he's
So
like,
menacing.
it's so oddly specific, but not. So the fact that it ties in with Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes just from one conversation, you have the whole context of all of
Yes.
that.
It's so good.
And it's just crazy. He's talking the whole time, going, "Oh, she'll seem to love you and you'll love her back. But, her heart's, she'll do things that don't really include you, do they?" And Haymitch is going back to each thing thinking he's been watching, but it's just not enough. And Haymitch is smart enough to realize, no, he's not talking about Lenore. What the fuck are you
He's like,
talking about?
"Who? Tell me the tea."
Yeah, but I don't think he ever figured
No.
it out.
That's crazy that Snow dies without Haymitch ever knowing what the fuck that conversation was about.
He's like, "Tell me."
I bet he thinks about that all the time.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like, why was he like so mad at my girlfriend? What's going on? He did
So
not like the
crazy.
Covey girls. Whoa.
And even in that scene, there's the first introduction of like the poison and like the
Mhm.
milk and stuff. I'm like, ugh,
Dude, that parades
Yeah,
guy
the
just
milk
got
was
taken
bad.
out.
out.
Bad
Crazy.
oysters. Haymitch drinking the milk.
Yeah. It's wild.
Okay, here's what I picture for the scene, because this is gonna be what I hyperfixate on when the movie comes out. Is
It's gonna
after
be
he
an iconic
chugs
scene.
down the milk or something like that, and he's like, "Oh, we're all out of milk, President Snow," and Plutarch covers for him, going like, "Oh, those servants," and I was like, "All right, fuck the servants, I guess."
Yeah.
But after he puts it down, when Snow's leaving or something like that, there's like a drop of milk like
Oh yeah.
cascading down, and President Snow just kind of looks at it and smiles, and then just keeps on walking away or something like
Ugh.
that.
It's gonna give drama.
Mhm.
It will, because it's just.
Sorry.
I'm
Talking about what we picture
excited.
while reading. I had like things that weren't even there.
No, I love
Like-
it. Come on, it's a vision. It's a vision.
All right, so I will be directing the
Yeah.
Sunrise on the Reaping as my debut film, guys. I will be accepting the first TikTok fan cast that I see as
Oh no.
as
Please.
gospel.
Don't.
So-
I do want to take a second to say I love Miss Maisie.
Yeah.
Because I love a
No.
bitch.
Yeah.
I love a bitch.
I
and
do
she
too.
is one.
They're like, "You're gonna die," and she's like, "At least I don't die wearing that." Oh,
Yeah, and you're ugly.
Yeah.
So at least I'm not dying ugly. I'm like, that is a girl after my own heart.
Fuck ass Bob. I don't know what to tell
I've
you.
been telling people we need to call them ugly more. Okay, so she's a girl after my own heart. You know what
Yeah, no, she was hilarious.
Yeah.
Everything she said, I was like, and you should say that.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Girl, be a brat.
She
You're
was-
dying.
It was Joanna coded, I think.
She was.
Joanna coded.
Yeah,
Totally.
and I miss Joanna, so.
Yeah. Okay, so then
Poison darts too. That's crazy.
we're all in the prep for the games. I loved the moment where Haymitch said that he felt like an animal that was being like prepped.
The cage right there.
Because the people they're like, "Oh, got to trim your claws and your fur," and he's like, "What? Am I an animal to you guys?" Because he
Dude,
is.
Yeah.
And then
How
just because
indoctrinated
already,
the good people are.
yeah,
Like Effie.
when he
Jesus
goes, "Yeah, you lost me there."
Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting point to bring up too, because Lucy Gray and now Haymitch and Katniss all believed that they were being treated like animals,
Mhm.
but the treatment was still very different. Like
Yeah.
if you look at Katniss's compared to Lucy Gray, you're like, Katniss, what are you talking about? But she was still being treated like a zoo animal.
It's a commodity.
Totally.
Yeah.
So it is kind of cool to see too that even though the treatment gets better,
The through line is still there.
the through line's still there.
Yes.
That's why, even with Effie showing up, it doesn't feel like fan service, like you were saying earlier, how like it could be seen as that, but if you really look at it, it's not. Effie, who we know is a good person and turns for good at the end right there. It just
Right.
shows that this world, this propaganda, all this stuff, it affects even the good people. They're
Totally.
victims to this too.
Yeah.
And at the end, when they're like, let's do a capital Hunger Games, it's like, a lot of these people, they didn't know. They were born and raised in this system thinking the districts were all full of, rebellious, evil people that, like,
Right.
they deserve this, and this is the best chance that they're going to get. And so if you grow up with nothing but that being drilled into you,
No, totally.
what are we going to expect you to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that deeper dive into Effie's character arc, just showing how like deep down she is a good person. She was just like, it's her environment.
Yeah.
Like
Compared to
and-
like Drusilla, like what the other District
Ugh,
12
yeah.
person was.
And if you think about it, like the kindness and the forgiveness that Katniss and Peeta and Haymitch and a lot of other people from District 12 and the surrounding districts were able to show Effie when the
Totally.
rebellion started, like, and she, she believed like she didn't really deserve that either. Like,
Mhm.
so that was cool. I liked that because I think it is important to remember that sometimes people don't realize that like the circumstances that they're born into shape them into a person that like
Totally.
They
Right.
need a chance to like
yeah
Everyone
change
should
their
get a
ways,
chance
yeah.
to change and grow.
Yeah.
to
love
learn.
that.
Mhm.
Okay, so since we've been talking for a long time, let's get into the actual Hunger Games.
Yeah.
So before the Hunger Games, though, he is
Oh.
There is what?
This is one more thing before the actual.
Please,
Hunger
go ahead.
Games. Sorry, I know. We got beady. We got a lot going on.
That's what I was just about to
but,
say.
It's just honestly, if we just end up talking about the characters and all that type of stuff, I'd be fine with that for this one. Honestly.
Well, yeah, but I just want to get into the cookie. And the
Okay. So
She has something she wants to
it's
say.
a scene when they're training, and this is a very powerful scene with the peacekeepers that are there watching them. There's like 8 peacekeepers or something like that. Remember twice the tributes. And the District 1 guy, whatever his name was, gets tackled down by 2 of them, and it's a whole uproar.
Totally.
And they're all holding the weapons right there. And they outnumber them. There's 50 of them in there. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And
No, it's
Haymitch
true.
has that whole internal conversation while Plutarch is watching or something like that with himself. And he's like, there are more of us. I'm holding a weapon. Why are we going to stay here? We can fight and get out. We might not get far, but we could do something about this. And then they're like, okay, well, that's all solved. Give me back that knife. And he hands it back. And
Yeah.
so Plutarch asks him, why did you give back the knife? And it's that, you're the only thing stopping yourself from like really fighting for anything, honestly.
Yeah. And
That indoctrination is in himself too, that he
Totally.
thinks he's too weak to do it.
I think that's when he was like, oh shit, wait, I can do something about this.
Mhm.
I can't, even no matter how small it is, I do have a chance to maybe do something,
Mhm. But it also helps support when he is in the games and he and Beatty kind of come up with this plan to break the arena and
Yes.
he
Beatty is the number one
he-
capital hater.
carries
Yes.
through the plan.
Love.
I know, and he's bold for that because
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
He really killed his son and said, all right, you can be in charge of our entire electrical system.
And his wife was pregnant. And I
Yeah.
was like, you're gonna do this right now while your wife's pregnant? You're gonna do
You
this
know
right
his
now?
wife was like, where were you last night?
Yeah. Be so fucking for real.
Um,
I know you weren't just blowing up the Hunger Games.
but Haymitch has that like once he like tries to break the arena and he kind of fails,
Yeah.
then you see him again go, no, I can't do this. And I think that's what would have happened with the knife is he would have attacked a peacekeeper and it probably would have gone really poorly for him. And
Yeah.
then he would have been like, no, I can't do this. And
Yeah.
it just shows again how like, yeah, Haymitch was not the one to carry out the plans. It was Katniss, but
Day one,
everything
shooting
he
apples at the
did-
game makers,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but everything he did was still an integral part of like the rebellion. Like a
Totally.
rebellion isn't like built overnight.
Yes.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
he truly laid the foundation. It's so fierce. Okay, so they go into the games finally. And it's like, as we said, pretty poisonous, scary vibes.
Mhm. And this is where we have exact footage of everything in, like, that we read in Catching Fire.
Yes.
How Haymitch was the only one who locked the fuck in real quick.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I remember that in Catching Fire. That, like, while everyone else is like, he's the only one who, like, gets off the platform immediately, grabs shit, and books it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And before they had this whole thing where they had made the alliances of the newcomers and the careers, and the newcomers vastly outnumbered the careers. But then he had he realized that they were going to go after him.
Snow told him straight up, "You ain't winning this." Chief.
Exactly. And so he had to make the decision to separate himself from
Carry out the
everybody
plan,
else. Yeah, to carry out the plan, which I'm like, ugh. Because that does make him look a certain way. You know
a
what I'm
lot of
saying?
faith in Beatty's son, Ampert, living.
Yes.
He was what, 12 or 11?
He was, I think 12.
Yeah.
You know, and then the Hunger Games kind of, they go as they always go.
That was the only thing that was like, it was still good, but I was just like, it's not the Hunger Games. And this is why I was also mad at myself for being no better than the Capitol. Because it was like, I kind of want to see what the rest of the games are doing. What's going on? Like, why is he just sitting in the tree? Come on, let's see some stuff going on. That's not the point of it.
No.
Stupid.
Yeah. And he quickly realizes that everything's poisoned, right?
Dude, that rabbit.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Crazy.
The poor bunny.
Poor little bunny guy.
Yeah.
Right there. Poor little bunny at the end, right?
Yeah, these bunnies.
Dude, Snow fucking hates this guy. He's like, you remember that bunny that like didn't die? We're gonna kill it right here. Yeah.
Crazy.
Right when you wake up.
Crazy. And
Crazy.
That book was shocking.
That was so unnecessary,
Yes!
Suzanne. Why did you do that?
and he meets up with Lulu. He eventually meets up with Lulu.
Yeah. Poor little
Kill her
fish.
off quickly. With those like
Her allergy. Yeah.
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 When it said that he yanked the tube, I was like, ah!
No, that gave me the heebie-jeebies.
I felt like this book was, and maybe it's just being an adult again, so violent.
I think it's being an adult.
yeah.
Because the thing is when I read it as a kid, I did not think it was that bad. But I remember like my friends' moms reading it and being like, I can't believe Rachel's reading that. That's so awful. And my dad was like, I don't know, she's really into it.
Yeah.
Well, she puts a few words in this that like prove that it is just full adult too, about like people getting SA'd and whatnot.
Yeah.
Mm.
And like with the actual words there and everything.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't remember what I'm allowed to say or not.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and people were like freaking out that word was in this book, and I was the only one. I wasn't the only one, but I was reading it and I was like, no, it's like it's what happens. Why are we sugarcoating what? And I feel like
these kids are getting murdered. What do you
Suzanne
mean?
has done like sugarcoating everything,
Yeah.
being like, well, you know, it's not clear what happens to Finnick. Yes, it is.
It is.
It is.
If you have a brain cell, it is clear what happens to Finnick.
Totally.
Watch his story be like, no, he was fine. Nothing
Yeah.
happened.
And then what happened to Ampert? So he carries out the plan
Uh-oh.
and boop boop be-doo boop.
I'm gonna take this.
Go for it. That's okay.
I'm not used to seeing this side of my face.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
Welcome
I
to my
like
world now, yeah.
I think that this is my good side. I think I'm learning my left is my good side. It's so funny.
I think since I moved something, when I pop up my browser, it's supposed to come up on my private window.
You're doing so
It
good.
came
Lane.
up on the public window. Let's see.
We got like 13
My
minutes.
bad.
Yeah.
Oh, where's it at?
Period.
Let's see. Yeah, see, it came up over there.
Yeah.
Let me just move it, and that way it won't do that, and then we'll get back to it. You remember where you were?
Ampert, yeah.
Yeah.
In his plan.
Right, good. Okay. Who's talking?
Maddie.
Me. And then Haymitch does the thing where he tries to break the arena.
Mm-hmm.
With there's the berm, right? With those like butterfly
The electric
things.
butterflies.
Yes. And he throws in the spear, whatever, and they go in.
Mhm.
Crazy. First of all.
They managed to smuggle in like, what was that? The little clay that's secretly like an explosive
Yes.
or whatever.
Bonkers.
I'm not smart enough to understand that, but I was like, cool,
Neither.
explosive flowers. I'm with it. All right.
Yeah.
That whole journey into the underground was traumatizing because it was reminding me of Mockingjay.
Oh!
Finnick. No.
Oh!
No.
I was like having
That's so painful.
horrible. It gave me the
Oh,
same
whoops.
exact feeling, and it was
Yeah.
really weird to
Yeah.
read that because I was like, some mutt or something is gonna come.
I was thinking the same exact thing.
Oh, I wasn't. I was thinking this is like where the piece, like, you know, the game makers are walking around. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's not going to have anything in there.
Well, but they have the ability to set them on certain people,
Mhm.
you know,
Dude,
as we saw.
crazy to find that out. I mean, like, feel like we knew that, but it's crazy to like have it so clearly written.
Yeah.
That, yeah, the game makers are just targeting people.
Yeah,
whenever
because
they
he's
want,
like next
willy-nilly.
to those like squirrel things eating up Ambert and they're not touching him.
Which begs the question, bro, you didn't have one set for Haymitch? Like, come on,
Yeah.
like, what are we doing here?
So he does the explosive and he floods something. things kind of are wacky, but not wacky enough, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just kind of it's like starts lagging a little bit. That's
Yeah.
about it.
And then he goes to Ambert, poor Ambert, eaten
To the bone.
to the bone. He was just a skeleton.
Chip and Dale going crazy in their new
I was
movie.
like, that's disgusting.
Yeah, no, that was
so violent. I was horrified.
that was horrific. To be a parent, seeing that happen,
And-
you know
and-
his dad's forced to watch that, and his mom's forced to watch that.
And also kind of it happening because of his dad.
Mhm.
I was like, yikes.
But it was so Edie accepted it like with such grace in a way, like still planning to fight the fight and everything, being like, Ampert is going to die in these games.
Yeah. It's just-
Ampert knows that did Ampert know he was going to die in the games?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I can't remember. I
I
can't
don't
remember if
think
they
he
told
knows.
him.
Well, I think Haymitch says that at one point. He's like, he knows he's not gonna make it out.
Yeah. He's a
Um,
little guy.
Yeah.
So Ampert, R.I.P. Everyone's dying.
Pretty much dies. Then the
Yeah.
volcano blows up, or whatever that was.
Yeah, the volcano. And then he meets up with Maisley again.
Mhm.
And they're kind of a little duo for a bit. And I was just thinking of like Candace and Peta, and I was like, oh, I wish I was away.
Mhm.
You know? Ugh, it hurts.
Lenore Dove, if you don't get out of here right now
Yeah.
for this couple here, please.
No, I think it was good that they had a friendship.
Yeah.
That they
I wanted them to kiss.
filled the familial void.
I think so too.
um
I just was thinking, I was like, I wish we could get both of them out. That's what I want. All I wanted.
Oh, I thought it was such
Something
a
out.
crazy detail that Haymitch's mom was supposed to have twins.
Yes.
And that like it
Yes.
created tension for him with the Donner twins.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, that makes sense. Like that probably was really hard.
Those
for
are the
him.
sisters I could have had.
Yeah.
Ugh. Ugh.
Oof.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, also we didn't mention this earlier, but the way that he calls Luella sweetheart, and that's why he started to call
Bro!
Katniss sweetheart. I was like, oh my god,
It just slips out.
it hurts.
No.
Yeah.
And Katniss
What do
thinks
you
he's
mean?
being like sarcastic about it at first.
Oh yeah. It's so sad.
She's drunk and depressed. Leave this poor old man alone.
Yeah, and then he's with Maisley, and this is when we start to understand what we already knew from the previous books about the force field and the things
Yeah.
bouncing back up.
But it seemed like he was alone the whole time. So I was reading it and I was confused by this because I was like, well, I thought he just walked alone. I didn't know he met up with her for all this time.
They got us.
That's not what happened.
They got us.
And I was going to call her out on it too. I was going to be like, Suzanne,
No,
read your stuff.
we got.
Yeah, we got
We
major
got. She got us.
Yeah. And then Maisley, R.I.P. girl.
Wait, the game makers that are in the
Oh.
arena.
Yes.
So once again, he hesitates. The District 4 candidate, whatever her name was, and Maisley, they act up and they
Yeah.
kill the three game makers that are in the arena. Bro, imagine you clock in and you get a trident in your back. That's
I
crazy.
know.
It's like, I gotta
Sucks.
go fix a door.
Yeah, and she's mad at him. She's like, "You kind of left me for dead, bro. I thought we were supposed to be on the same team."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And then
Oh well,
so the
and
two of them
I
get
was
killed.
frozen.
Yeah.
Which I thought that was so valid too, because
Yes.
like here he is he tried to carry out this plan to like break the arena, and he's like thinking maybe he can do something again, and then he sees the people that are like in charge of orchestrating said arena. I think I would freeze too. I'd be like,
Totally.
wait.
And
I'd be
there's-
so thrown
What are you
off.
doing?
And
here?
there's a
Yeah.
humanity about him too. He
Yeah.
doesn't want all of these people to be dying.
Yeah.
He doesn't even want to kill them.
Right.
You know, because they're just people that are like Effie products of their own environment.
Uh-huh.
Ugh,
That's so true. But
it sucks.
when you're in that like life or death situation, but I also understand why Maisley and
It's your only chance to kill people from the Capitol, yeah.
is her name Meridi?
Yeah, Marit, something like that.
It's something like maritime.
Yeah.
themed, but
We had Angler.
Yeah, we had some wild names. She always is gonna give us the crazy names.
yeah. But I understand why they killed them.
yeah,
I also liked Maisley's comment about her when she's like, she can't pull off pin curls or whatever. And
So
that's like
funny.
the one thing we know about that girl's character is that
Yeah.
she uses the trident and
Marit.
she can't wear pin curls.
Marit.
Marit.
Yeah,
Marit, yeah.
Marit, Angler, Barba, and Urchin.
like crazy.
Wait,
names.
did you guys see that one TikTok? Oh god, I can't remember who it was, but like they go through all the names, oh yeah, we got Alpheus, Janus, all these different things. And then we got Ryan from District 9.
It's crazy.
We got Ryan in District 9.
Wait, let me see.
We got a Ryan. All these names. Haymitch, Maisley, Ryan. District
That's
9.
Oh
so
my gosh.
funny.
Yeah, no, I think I thought about that when I was listening to it, and I was like,
Ryan.
Say Ryan.
That's so good.
oh, but then I got stuck up on Stamp. I was like, yeah,
Stamp is crazy.
Stamp and Peeler. Got it.
Remember, you got Stamp, Peeler, Angler, Ryan.
Maddy, Rachel, Alexandros. It's so funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So then,
Seneca, Coriolanus.
R.I.P. So then eventually, Macely, R.I.P.
Picks
Diva.
apart by some flamingos.
Yeah.
Weird ass looking bird.
Psycho.
Do you guys- Like, never mind. I can't remember what the name of the bird is, so it's gonna be a pointless conversation.
Work.
There's some freaky ones out there though.
And then this is when, is it Silka?
Silka's the District
Yeah.
1 person. Yeah,
Mhm.
She comes,
kills that one little girl right
Yeah,
when
poor
Haymitch is about
Welly,
to drink the poison.
but the part when she eats the chocolate
Yeah.
and you can hear her crying, I'm like, it sucks. I feel for all of them. You know?
I'd be like, you ate the chocolate, bitch. Why you decapitated?
Yeah,
this
when you
little
can
girl?
see the chocolate on her face.
But also, she wants to get home too.
Yeah.
And those careers are so trained
Yeah.
to do that. I mean, even at that point, even if there still wasn't as much training as there had been, like by the time the Katniss games
Right.
come around, there's still a different culture about that in those districts. And it's such a different mentality.
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, I will do anything to get home.
Ultimate bootlicker.
Whereas like the further out you go in the districts, the more like moral you become, I guess.
Yeah.
What is the what is it like? There's an analysis out there where each district, you see how indoctrinated they are based on how necessary they are to the capital or something like that. Like they keep District 12, who supplies like all the fuel for their power and stuff like that, way deep down because they're so necessary. Same with like what is it, 3, which is their technology,
Yeah.
and their power, which is 7 is lumber. So 8, 9, one of those,
I can't even remember.
something like that. Whereas commodity stuff is much different. So you have all their riches and goods in District 1. That's why they keep pushing all the good stuff to them, being like, oh yeah, look at how happy and great everything can be.
Right.
That's where all the wealth is going and stuff. So you can keep them constantly winning. Same with District 2, which is all their military stuff. You got to have them be heavily indoctrinated
Right.
into what's
That's so
going on
interesting.
and militarized. And then District 4 is, seafood isn't necessary
Yeah.
anything, but it's still nice to have and still a sign of like the elite
It's
again.
definitely a luxury.
Yeah.
Of course.
So those are all,
Even though the
luxury
oysters
stuff.
can kill you.
Huh?
Even though those oysters can kill you.
Those
Those
oysters
oysters.
are, oof.
Yeah.
Bad oysters.
No, that's so interesting.
Mhm.
It really is.
Somebody else out there has done it better.
The way that she mapped this out, it's just amazing, honestly.
Did you picture all the districts in like a straight line?
No.
Like District 1, 2, 3,
Like,
4?
like in the country?
Like in the country?
No.
He imagined them like they're
No,
all, like,
I didn't imagine them directly straight, but I imagined them kind of like zigzag
Oh,
a
like
little bit
stops
going
on a
across.
line?
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Like going across.
Okay. It mean it's the US.
I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one out
That's
there.
so
but apparently
funny.
it's like District 4 is down here, District
Yeah,
12
they're
is
kind
up
of
here. I'm
wacky.
like, okay, well, why are we numbering them like this then?
Wait,
Yeah.
is it the U.S.?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
US,
Yeah.
North America.
Canada
So
is the
like,
US.
so lumber would be like Northwest.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
That's what like, see, it makes sense, but I'm like, why are we numbering them like
Yep.
this then?
Yeah,
knows?
my world building professor went into a huge rant about the map of Panem the other day. And
Oh,
I
that's so
can't even
cool.
begin to touch on it because he had so many thoughts and we debated on it for like 30 minutes.
That's so cool. Wow.
It is really crazy to think about how much like planning goes into it. And yeah, how there are things that like we can accept about the world because that's what makes sense in our world, which is kind of why the Hunger Games is cool, but it's also terrifying.
It makes it even more horrifying.
Because when I was reading this, I was like, wow. I mean, I think, we're still a little bit off from putting kids into an arena, but
Not that far.
How many
the
Squid Game
propaganda-
spinoffs have there been in
Yeah.
real world reality shows? We're
Yeah.
not that far
honestly,
off.
But the propaganda and like the government being involved in every aspect of people's lives, that is a very real thing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that
we
was
live
like
in a police
scary.
surveillance state here in America. So
It just hits the nail on the head.
yeah.
It's so, I mean, it's literally what Suzanne said that I said at the beginning. I won't write something until I have something to say. And she said, guys,
She
just
saw-
wait for this.
Yeah.
She saw those snow edits and had something to say. She's like,
Yeah.
okay.
She goes, get over yourself,
You
guys.
missed the point, I fear. Okay.
Oh, it's so funny. Okay, so then we get the scene that we get in the original books with the axe and how it comes
They
back.
have to keep that in because that's how it wins. He thinks it has to be something at the end. I have to show them this because they won't show it otherwise.
Yeah.
Unless it's the final scene.
So it's so good. I can't wait to see it.
And then the arena blows up too.
arena
That
blows
was
up.
new.
Yeah.
We didn't know that.
It's
it just
so catching
ends
fire.
After that. Yeah.
So catching
So
fire.
catching fire. And he thinks he's dead. So catching fire.
Then he wakes up.
And I saw a cool, I mean, this can kind of lead us into the epilogue a bit, I guess, too. When Haymitch starts to tell Katniss and Peeta about how he knew their parents, which is crazy.
No.
But how when, he saves Katniss from the arena being blown up and catching fire, and she's so upset at him for not saving Peeta, someone commented, like, how do you not save your best friend's daughter, even if you guys never talk again? Like, of course he was gonna save Katniss.
He
didn't
she's
talk
the
to
closest
his
thing
best
he
friend
has to a daughter,
save him.
essentially, too.
He didn't talk to his best friend to save his life, essentially. Because Snow was gonna kill him. You know.
Yeah.
When they go back, enjoy your homecoming.
Oh. Yeah.
What?
Let me tell you
what did Haymitch think was gonna happen though? He missed the point.
Really quick, what I thought was going to happen was I didn't really think that he would kill Lenore. I don't know why. I didn't really go there.
Haymitch did.
That's what I mean. I thought maybe his drinking would drive her away.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, there was some ambiguity of whether she was going to make it, but I figured that it was going to be her death that drove him to drinking.
Which, then I'm like, okay. Because I thought maybe he would just, We also find out that because of all of his, little fun he had in the arena, like Wyrus was tortured, all of them, and that gives us so much context as to why she is the way she is. Oh,
that was crazy to find out.
Yes,
that was one of my favorite parts of the book, was because there's something so like hauntingly beautiful about watching a very smart person descend into madness.
Oh, it's so sad.
It was not her fault, and it really, it really killed me.
No, it's so rough. And then of course he goes back, and then R.I.P. his family, R.I.P. Lenore.
Him feeding her the gumdrops and then her saying, like, now I can add this to the ones that you gave me. What?
Yeah, so
sad.
That
was crazy. I was like,
so sad.
Like, spit him out, spit him out, spit him out, spit him out, spit him out.
Yeah.
And then Katniss's dad helping him as much as he can, when he has to go live in the Victor's Village by himself alone. It's just I think that this is the most devastating Hunger Games book, period.
I'm inclined to agree.
Because at least Katniss has some people at the end.
She does. And
and I think it must be so sad for him to watch what happened to Katniss and everything, but also he finally gets a family again.
And he can be like, I've been through it.
Yeah.
Let me help you.
Yeah. And he locks in. He's like, okay, we're finally going to do what I set out to do. Like, and it makes so much sense as to why he has that relationship with Plutarch, why he's at the end of Catching Fire. He's like, okay, this is it, you guys.
I can't believe they tied in that one spot in District 11 too.
Yeah,
that's great.
There's no microphones. It's crazy.
I actually loved that. I was like,
it's
the trailer.
Amazing.
Hey,
it's amazing. And then we get the epilogue, and he's with Katniss and Peeta living life.
Edgar Allan Poe poem there.
Yes, which is just so beautiful.
Yeah,
and that's Sunrise on the Reaping.
Sunrise on the Reaping,
and it was so good.
I loved it, and also the fact that he has a flint. Catching fire, like he has the thing that does start a fire. He has what starts a fire because he did start the fire. Yeah. Even though it took 25 years.
Started the fire.
Yeah.
It wasn't always burning. Right? We started it.
Yeah, even though it
remix.
It wasn't until 25 years later that it finally came to fruition.
Yeah.
This book was amazing though. And I finished it and I was like crying, and I went downstairs. I go, Dad, you want to borrow this? And he's like, is it any good? And I was like,
no, it was terrible.
You think I'd be crying?
Yeah.
I remember I accidentally spoiled the Effie part for you because you started reading it like 2 days before me, and then I finished it in like a day, and I was like, oh my God, when Effie shows up, and you're like,
I haven't
gotten Effie yet.
Yeah.
I had school, so I was not reading as fast as I wanted to.
All right. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see what else if she decides to add more. I'm so excited to see what happens. Can't wait for the movie.
Come on.
Next year. Can't wait. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. That was so fun.
Please come back whenever you want.
I'd love to. Let's talk about some Dramione.
Girl, please.
Okay.
Isolation?
Sure.
What are we talking about next?
Twisted Love.
Twisted Love.
Yes, we did this instead of that because we had to be current,
We have to be current.
Yeah.
Cool.
Love ya.
Thank you guys.
Do all the things that you're supposed to do, like subscribe, comment, tell your friends.
Let us know what you thought about Sunrise on the Reaping.
Tell us, please.
Tell us, what did we miss?
Watch Hunger Games. Go back into your 2012 core. It's fun.
Oh, yeah. We got to do a marathon now.
Yeah. Okay. Regress.
Just girly thing.
Hyperfixation.
Sound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Don't eat nightlock. Don't drink milk. Don't eat bad oysters. Bye, everyone.
Love you. Bye.